Okay, we have an hour of daylight and a whole bunch of stuff to do. Let's see what we can do. I'm bad at this introduction thing. Let's just skip that and get right into it. So, a couple of days ago, one of my favorite YouTubers issued a small-ish January challenge. They want us to go through the pile. We all have a pile, is the way they put it, and in my case it's about 12 piles, but we'll keep it small for now. Go through the pile and fix or mend or finish or whatever your pile entails. Just get it done, get it out of the way for January before starting your big projects. And conveniently for me, this was something I'd already decided to do this year. One of my goals is to finish at least 12 works in progress, because I've got more than that. I think it's 18 at this point, because I am that kind of person. I don't know a crafter who isn't. And it just got to the point where it was ridiculous. I can't find what I need. I don't have space to start new things. I need to finish the old ones. My workroom isn't massive. I think it's a double bedroom, the old double. It's about 12 square meters. Most of that is taken up by the equipment in said workroom. I'd show you it, but it is about 1,000,000 degrees inside, and I'm much happier out here with the breeze and the grass, and the birds and the trees. It's summer. It's just a thing. So, in the interests of practicing this YouTube thing, I thought I would go through some of the pile, because I can't physically bring it all out here at once. That would be ridiculous. And honestly, some of it I'll probably just frog as a lost cause. So this is the mending pile. It's not even all the mending pile, it's just the pile that I know that exists. Some of this has been here for, I couldn't tell you how long. Possibly longer than my oldest child has lived. Speaking of, actually, we have these gloves. They used to be, they used to have fingers. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. They used to have fingers. I cut them off because fingerless gloves were better. I live in Australia, I don't need full gloves. But then, of course, the stitching all popped apart, and I went, oh no, I should fix that, and put it in the mending pile, and that's where it stayed for years. So, that one's not difficult, it's just tedious, because it's leather, thin leather, black thin leather. Which means I need good light, uninterrupted time, and a reasonable needle. I have one of those, consistently. Next we have this skirt. There is no way this is all going to fit in the frame. This is actually like a child's skirt. It was, I don't know, size 7, 8-ish. It fit the elder child until the shirring elastic fell out, or disintegrated, rather. Oh look, it has a size. It's a size 6. There you go. But I got as far as taking out the shirring elastic. You can see, hopefully you can see, the old shirring elastic lines. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to fold that over and make it a plain old elastic waistband skirt. It's easy. It's reasonable. I just don't want to at the minute because it involves an iron, and see previous statement about it being 1,000,000 degrees inside my house. We also have very sexy jean shorts. I hacked them off. They fit better. That way, they are actually really comfortable, which is why I keep meaning to fix them. But like all my jeans, they have suffered the dreaded crotch hole. This is actually the first crotch hole on this pair of jeans, confusingly. They originally got put in the pile because of that lovely patch, which I mended 4 years ago. But I've got as far as attaching the patch on the inside with the pins. So, again, not difficult, just tedious. And I don't mind it. It's just I have a lot of sewing to do. And some of it is often more interesting than others. This one This actually was knitted for me by a friend, and it's amazing, and I love it, and I'm really mad that I got to wear it all of maybe twice before this happened. And the trouble is, I don't have any yarn even close to this colour, and neither does my friend, because she gets rid of all her yarn. She doesn't keep scraps. It's just, that's not a thing she does. That's fair. We all have different tastes. So I have no idea how to mend this, which is why it's still in the pile. I'm thinking I may just have to suck it up and use a different colour that's close and hope for the best. More skirts. My god, my children love skirts. This one is Pain, and it will probably be waiting till last because it's gathered. It's a lovely, pretty, very beautiful skirt that has gone through the first child and is now onto the second child, and the ruffle has started to fall off. I'm very, very tempted to just take that bottom tier off and leave it as is, except then I would have to shorten the lining, and that does not sound like my idea of a good time, so let's see what happens with that. These I made 3 years ago. Like, they're pretty banged up. They're kids' pants, that's what happens. And they were made out of secondhand fabric to start with. They're not in good condition. I may well just pull these apart and put them in the scrap pile, because you can always use more scraps. At least you can if you're me, with children and mending everywhere. Next we have this darling little number. This was something my mother made for the youngest child. They wore it about twice, because my children are actually behemoths, not children. They have giant blood somewhere in their DNA, and thus run at least 2 sizes larger than everyone thinks they are based on age. But that's okay, because it's actually really nice fabric. So I'm probably going to pull it apart. There's a big old hole here. Who knows where that came from. Originally I was going to patch it, and then I realized that the child that it was destined for is far too large for it. So it will probably get pulled apart and reused for other things. This is a big red square of cloth. It mostly looks like nothing's wrong with it, and technically that's correct, but they're just a little bit too thin for purpose, which is Christmas wrap replacement. I got sick of buying Christmas wrap, gift wrap, whatever you want to call it. It's expensive, you can't recycle it, it's a pain, it goes everywhere. I still have a bag from this Christmas somewhere in the house that needs to be put in the bin and just hasn't been. So, moving towards those, they're too thin. Not sure how to fix that yet. Probably going to involve patchwork, because scraps, thousands of them. So a thing that happens to my shirts a lot is that after a while they start to get pinprick holes in them, because that's just a thing that happens with cotton as it ages, especially 100% cotton, is start to get little pinprick holes in the jersey knit. This one I have patched several times now actually, but it's got a few more. Let's see if we can get that to work. There we go. We've got this going on the underarms, and like they do tend to wear out more on the underarms because that's where your sweat is, and sweat degrades fabric. Also got a little bit of fraying on the edge there, which I've never actually tried to fix before. No idea on that one. May end up having to be consigned to the visible mending shirt instead of the invisible, like the last several mends, like this one here on the side seam. Focus, you can do it, come on. Okay, stop looking at me, look at the seam. You're as bad at this as I am, camera. Another one on the seam, actually. Had a few pop up on the seams. So I just mend those with thread. They're real quick, not particularly difficult. Pain in the butt, still. I may well just go with embroidery floss this time and put, I don't know, a flower or a bee or something on it. It's green. You can put so many things on it. Christmas present for the child's dolls. The elastic promptly failed within a month. So, unpick the hem, replace the fabric, not the fabric, replace the elastic. Not difficult, just a pain. Are we seeing a theme here? Oh hey, we've got some knits on top of the pile. So, it turns out I finally have socks old enough to need patching. Let me just stick my hand in so you can actually see what needs patching. Little toesies have finally worn out. These ones were a little large when I knit them. This is my very first pair of hand knit socks, and I love them, but they are about half an inch too large, which you wouldn't think would make that much of a difference, but hand knit socks really do need to be quite specifically sized for a foot because of various factors, including but not limited to, they don't stretch like nylon does, and like the elastic that they have in commercial socks. So you're relying on the wool to stretch, and if they're too large, there's too much rubbing between your foot and the shoe, so you're more likely to get holes. You will just get holes eventually anyway, but it happens faster if the sock's too big. Also has one on the heel. I've been putting those off because I don't like Swiss darning, to be honest. I'm not very good at it. It's a pain in the butt. It takes forever. Its friend also has giant heel holes. Oh, and there's a broken thread just there, I just realized. Those are easier to fix for me. So the needles are in here because I'm hoping that I will eventually get the time and the patience and the brain power to just re-knit those sections, as I've seen some people do. Sock number 3 also has a hole in the heel. I'm sensing a theme. Now that I know this, I'm probably going to start putting different yarn in my heels, because I often knit short row heels. It's hard to see on this fabric, but short row heels are what I do. And when you do short row heels, it's quite simple to just change to a different yarn when you get to the heel. Actually, I've got another sock here. This one isn't a short row heel, it's a top down with a heel flap, but the same principle applies. You can just knit the heel in a different color like I did here. Honestly, I'm not sure if this one is worth fixing given the size of the holes. It's not sock yarn. It's some 8-ply that I had and went, hey, that'll make great winter socks. Which, you know, it does. But it's also, like, really, really falling apart. So that one may honestly be destined for the worm bin, because they make really great insulation for the worm bin. Let's try that. Nah. We'll figure it out. YouTubers have to start somewhere, right? I don't actually know how many times I've mended this. There is yet another hole in it. I think possibly just because the wool was so cheap that the dye is like this is the same orange as this sock, and it just keeps failing. So I'm wondering if there's just something about this specific very cheap wool. It was $2 for a 50-gram ball when I bought it, which is at least 8 or 9 years ago. And like, it was the Spotlight pure wool 8-ply, and it just keeps failing in all these different parts of this honestly very nice jumper that I really enjoyed knitting. It's called Jumping Sun. I don't know if the pattern is still available, but it was free when I found it. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that, given it just keeps getting holes. It may be a case of felt it down and see what happens. If the kid still fits it, great. If not, then I have some orange felt to do stuff with. Oh, we're almost at the end of the pile. Oh. I love this shirt. I don't know how long I've had this shirt, which is why it's still in the mending pile, because I'm scared to up when I mend it. It was old when I got it. It was secondhand, probably a hand-me-down from one of my family. I don't actually remember, but I was a teenager when I got this, and like, I just have a thing for some plaid. Like, I'm very fussy about my plaid, but the ones I love dearly, and this is one of the ones that I love dearly. But it's cotton. It got old. I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna fix it, and I'm gonna wear it, and I'm probably just gonna keep patching it forever. And that's my phone getting junk mail. That's actually all the mending I brought out. I do have one that I need to finish. This is So, many years ago, when I got off Ravelry, I bemoaned a few of the patterns in public, and one of my friends went, "I will buy this pattern for you if you make me one." And I said yes, and I got this far, and it has literally sat here for 8 to 10 months, just waiting for me to sew the bits up and turn it into the hood that it is supposed to be. It's the Ranger cowl. I do not remember who designed it, but it's the Ranger cowl. It's gorgeous. It was fun to knit. Lots and lots of knit 2 purl 2 ribbing, so if you're not a fan of knit 2 purl 2, avoid it like the plague. But otherwise, it's just gorgeous. And it literally just needs to be sewn up. So that is a small peek into what needs to be fixed. I did have a productive day today though, and fixed some things. Like tea towels. And tea towels. And tea towels. Although this one, I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patches. And then I found another hole. The swearing was loud. Now, I know some of you will be asking why bother to mend a tea towel. The answer is, for me, it takes less time and brain power to stick a patch on a damn tea towel than it does to go to IKEA and get good ones. And that is the only way I can get good ones, is to make the trek to IKEA. Hour and a half on the bus, one way. They're the only place I found that sells tea towels that actually do their job. There's a reason I'm planning to weave my own soon. Last but not least, for the pile o' mending, we have yet another shirt, but this one doesn't holes. This one had stitching come undone, which I didn't realize until I kept wondering why the insect on my arm wouldn't go away, and realized that the stitching had come undone. But again, not a difficult fix, just slightly tedious, and I will be the first to admit I didn't do a stellar job, but honestly, if someone is looking that close at my underarm, I'm probably going to be elbowing them in the head. But that one was easy enough because the thread was still attached, so I could just stick it in a needle and go to town. So I will put a tally here of how many things that is to mend. The two I didn't bring out because they're massive and I didn't want to are 2 blankets, one crocheted, one knit. The knit one I have to literally re-knit giant sections of the pattern because the yarn that they were made out of originally was just old and started disintegrating within a week or two of us having it and washing it, because it's a child's blanket. You need to wash them so many times. But yes, and the crocheted one, I actually crocheted that one when I was like 16, I think, 17. And it's held up surprisingly well over the years, but one of the border rows has had a stitch come loose or the yarn break somewhere and it's just started to unravel, so I just need to redo that. That's it for now. I will hopefully check back in closer to the end of January to see where we got up to with the giant pile of mending. Maybe do another one of these with everything that I'm currently making, because making and mending are 2 separate things, as we all know. It's going to be a lot of boxes. I keep everything in boxes to keep them organized, and yeah, that's a lot of boxes. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. This is YouTube. You know how to do the YouTube things. Bye for now. Words. I need more words. Words are hard. So is remembering where the camera actually is. It's over here, by the way. I keep looking at this side, but it's over here. I put it there specifically, and I still keep looking on the other side.